back with another episode of To the Moon, and in this one we got two of my favorite people. And I know. I always say that these guys are my favorite, but it's true. It's always true, because I don't think you get on an episode of To the Moon if you have not shown me not only that you are deserving of being here, but that that you can inspire and help others get here as well. And you know, you guys have come into the Astro community blazing, and it's been really nice. And for me, as somebody in my situation, my position, that where I get to help and be a part of your journey, when you get to see people take it and run with it, and score, it becomes very, very gratifying. And so it's my pleasure to introduce you guys to this podcast. So if you would tell us, where are you guys from? Give us a little bit of backstory, because, you know, of course, when we're on the calls, I get not enough time to know about you personally. So let's start there. Tell us who you are. What makes you, what brought you to this world?
Yeah. Well, thanks for having us. You know, first of all, this is just an honor and a blessing to be able to talk with you. And, you know, you've really changed both of our lives for the better. And so, you know, I'm Zach Martin. Both of us actually live in Midland, Michigan. So we're, you know, focused out of Detroit as our market, but we live in Midland, Michigan. And, you know, we were investing for a little while, and then, you know, we fell into wholesaling because we ran out of capital. We also didn't know the things that we needed to know to be an investor and have kind of the know-how to know what renovation budgets are, know where we need to be on after repair value, some of those things. So, you know, after watching some of your stuff, we just caught it. And, you know, Taylor and I met a couple of years ago and just started fixing flipping. I'll let him introduce himself, but yeah, we both are out of here in Midland.
So my name's Taylor Cobb. We met in the insurance business. So we both were selling insurance before all of this, and kind of crazy, you know, we saw a lot of high net worth clients coming in, and they were all in real estate. And so one day Zach looked at me and he's like, "Hey, we need to do this real estate thing."
So I appreciate that. It's such a fun thing, right? When you're like, hold on a second, that guy's got that much money. Oh, what are we doing?
Yeah.
What are we getting paid on this policy? I don't know if we're. How long did that take? So it's eye-opening. And sometimes those signals, well, I don't think sometimes, I think all the time in life, we are being signaled. We are being pointed to the direction we're supposed to be heading in. It's just like, are we aware enough to see it, right? And so that you guys were in your careers in insurance, and the writing's on the wall and in front of you that, hey, real estate needs your attention. So then you know, you're already in a like a sales environment, I would imagine, right? So you've got to understand emotional intelligence, you've got to understand negotiations, you've got to understand prospecting. These are all things that you already don't need to be convinced of. So now that you know the meat and potatoes of what it means to make a sale or to get things done, you just got to apply that with knowledge in another industry, and away you go, right? So how do you find wholesaling? Because this is not your average real estate investing technique, right? You're probably dealing with people in insurance that fix and flip, or people who buy and hold, that do the traditional methods of making money. How did wholesale find you?
Well, it's kind of funny. It found us on accident because, like he said, I mentioned it to him, but I was prospecting. I was meeting with realtors. That was my main form of getting leads. They needed people to write their insurance, or they needed something quick. And so I was meeting with realtors all the time. I met this big realtor actually in Saginaw, Michigan. He's not from the market. We work in Detroit now, but he told me he had 200 some doors, and he was telling me he was going in, buying them cash, fixing them up, refinancing. And I got excited. I looked into this, and as quick as he said it was, I brought it up to him after meeting this guy. I said, "Hey man, you and I are both good at sales. We're good at communication. We really focus on our craft, and we care about that. But I think we're in the wrong vehicle, because this guy is killing it." And he was my age. So I looked at this guy my age, and he's got way more money than me. He's working less than me, you know, because he scaled his business. And so I just brought it up. I said, you want to jump into real estate together? He said, sure. I didn't expect him to say it that quick, but he did.
A month later, we had our first rental.
Yep.
And then all of a sudden you buy one rental and you're like, now we got to go sell a bunch of insurance to buy another. And so that's where we're like, this is too slow, that, you know.
So exactly. And so we bought a rental. We were going to save up the capital, get 20% down, fix it up, do all that stuff. And I'm a math guy. I'm a guy that likes to look at the numbers. I'm looking at the numbers. That would have taken forever. And
yeah. The buy and hold path to wealth is a very slow grind, right? Like unless you've got a money printing machine, which is what I believe wholesale is, it's very difficult to build enough property to actually get enough money, passive income to survive, right? So like you did the math, you're like, dude, we're gonna be 70.
Yes, easily. I mean, it was gonna take 15 years. You know, based on that math. And even if everything went perfectly, which you can't guarantee it does.
So maybe not 70, but like, yeah, you would have been my age. How old are you guys?
We're 27.
Oh man, you would have even been younger than me, but yeah. So 15 years, you know, still not a bad roll if you take it slow. Right. But like people with your energy and your optimism and your perspective, cause you're like, guys, you're like, we can do this. Yeah. So you go and then wholesale.
Yeah. So we came across Pace is what happened. We came across Pace. He said, hey man, there's this strategy where actually what you do is you call, negotiate, get the property under contract for a price that works for an investor. And he said, and then you sell the contract to them, and that's where you make your money. He said, it's a good way for us to kind of get up and running to where we can have the capital go and buy these. And I was like, no way, I don't believe you. That seems too good to be true, right? And so he kind of dug into that pretty heavily.
Yeah, we looked into, you know, we didn't meet you yet, unfortunately, at that point. So, you know, we're doing the YouTube University with, you know, a lot of good guys, you know, Jerry Norton, Pace, all them, and we're, you know, studying, and we're out making calls, cold calls in our car at lunch, you know, after the insurance job, like during lunch, we're making calls for an hour and then going back and working our insurance job and doing the grind of, you know, the wholesaling where you're direct to seller, badge leads, all that stuff, which isn't, you know, it is what it
works. It works. It's just costly, time consuming, and can be, it's a one trick pony, right? Because you only buy a house from a seller one time and then it's over.
Exactly. Yep. And then so now we're looking at each other saying, this is a full-time job and we already have one of those. You know what I mean? So to do that, it's not scalable in a really easy way unless you're going to hire people and do all that. So
spend money on marketing, you know, put the things in place, because you know what the numbers are for direct to seller. A lot of times you need to make hundreds of calls to get the same leads that we get, you know, through the agent outreach strategy and wholesaler outreach and some of those things. So it was a little discouraging. We were getting conversations were good. We were good at kind of overcoming like objections, but we didn't really know what a deal looked like, how to structure that, how to get it to a buyer, all the things that you need to fill the gaps into to do this at a high level. And so I caught some of your YouTube videos, and I think it was the challenges that caught my attention. I watched all of them a couple times. I watched all of your Straight Outta Compton. I like stalked. I was doing my due diligence because I was like, this guy seems awesome. He seems like, I just don't want it to be too good to be true, because this seems like incredible, you know? So I looked into you. I watched every one of the, you know, To the Moon podcasts. I did my homework, and then I brought it to Taylor. That's usually the way we kind of do business.
And just like the same thing with when we first started, it was like, hey, you know, he's like, hey, I think we need to invest in this thing. And I'm like, let's do it, you know, because I know if he put the work into it and looked into it and he's ready to go, it's the right thing to do. And
yeah, so it was a good, it was such a no-brainer. I can't remember exactly who I talked with, but when he called me, I was a laydown. I was ready to go. I had no objections for him. I had my card ready. I was ready to invest because I already had believed, and I couldn't believe your authenticity and just your knowledge. The things you were just giving away for free was like, this guy just loves people. He wants to help people. And this is what I need to scale. So it was just a no-brainer. By the time we invested, we were just so excited. So that's how we found you in a nutshell. We had bought a couple properties in between that, but we wanted to learn how to do this business at a high level, from wholesaling to investing to lending to all of it. And we need to surround ourselves with, people that do that. So we started wholesaling, truthfully, with the agent outreach model last October. We haven't even been in this a full year.
No.
So
and how's it been going? Tell us about how it's been.
I can't believe it. I mean, it's like, honestly, we kind of talked back to it. Now we showed up, we were working our jobs. We quit our jobs last month. We're full time now. Because of you, man. I mean,
let's go.
We're full time now, but it took a month to get our first deal. What we did is we were just meeting 3 or 4 hours a day that we could in between our jobs, and we were hitting the phones, having conversations. We were already studying and doing our stuff at home. So by the time we got to where we had our list built, we were making phone calls, and we just landed on some opportunities. And actually, we needed some help dispoing. We didn't ever intend to dispo our deals. We didn't even really look into that hard. And so we dispo through a couple of local people. And our first deal was actually, it was $1,000 deal. It was really tight, but we were so excited about it because to us, that $1,000 deal was worth gold. It was
proof of concept. Yeah, that was like, you're like, this is real. This is true. The money is in the bank. Let's go.
Yeah, exactly. It was title issues. It was a process. It was all the things that kind of can make you a little nervous. And then we just had belief in ourselves. Really, from there on, we were just showing up and doing the work. And the pivotal point was really, him and I looked at each other and was like, hey, we need to understand values on these properties as well as these fix and flippers do. And that's something that you do a great job teaching, because if we look at all the other wholesalers in our market, a lot of them are struggling with that. I say if we can become those guys who really understand it as well as they do, their cost, the back end closing, what they need to make, all those things that go into a deal, we're going to have a great conversation with these agents and sound legit. The trust is there. And that's when, really we were starting to do a few a month consistently. And then, we really just took it from there. And the other thing that really did extremely well for us was, hey, we understand these deals. We're really good at talking with these buyers when they pop up. Why don't we start calling some of these buyers off of Privy?
Yeah.
And that was like, I couldn't believe how great that model was.
It's like, I got a deal here. I call the guys over here and I connect the dots and boom, away you go.
Because we thought dispoing a deal was like black magic. Like,
yes.
Like it was like not like I don't want to be the guy that's in charge of that because it seems so impossible, like so unreal. And then when you start talking to these buyers and understanding like they need you, they want you, like we have buyers that call us every week saying we need something, like what do you have for me, you know what I mean? And so but before you get there, you're like, it seems impossible to move a deal. Like I'll be the guy that gets the contract, but I need someone to move it for me. And that's where we shifted that to become really heavy dispo on that.
Yeah, so we were calling, like I said, tax records, skip tracing their names, and unlike insurance calls, these people were excited to hear from us.
Yes, they are.
They did not have a problem hearing from me. I was not getting cussed out. I was not getting, all the things that you kind of get and where there's not a lot of demand for your product or service. Mm-hmm. We were really having just great conversations. We really knew how to speak their lingo at this time. And so we landed on some really big heavy hitters in the market. And that's where things like we were doing the couple a month, and now all of a sudden within like 3 or 4 good buyers, we're doing like 5 to 7 a month now, right? And it's consistent. It's just like
so what is an average month doing 5 to 7 look like?
It looks like about 60 grand.
Yep.
My goodness, guys. Yeah. What a thing, right? Like have you ever made money like that in the insurance business?
Not even close.
No, I think on my very best month, I wasn't even like half. Like, I mean, it's like, you know what I mean? It's wild. And then to do that several months in a row is like, wow, So that's when it was like, okay, we know we need to quit. You know, we know we need to go full time into this. You have $150,000 or $60,000 a month, and that's, you know, one thing. But when you do it a few times in a row, we look at each other and we're like, the job's costing us money now at this point.
Opportunity cost is too high and then you also understand, like you look at it and you're like, wow, what did I get dollar per hour there? And what do I make dollar per hour here? This doesn't add up anymore. Right. And, you know, I get, you know, there's stability, but your stability. And when you start to believe in yourself and your capacity to show up every day and be consistent, then stability doesn't become a question any longer, because you are stable. And when you're stable and consistent, then the money is stable and consistent. And I love that about wholesale, because, you know, people say, yeah, but what about when the market turns? Yes, as the market turns, we turn with it. When the market spikes, we spike with it. When the market drops, we drop with it. But we also transact all the way up, all the way down, in every direction, because that's what wholesale is. Wholesaling is helping bring liquidity to properties where it would be more difficult because of the situation or because of the condition. And so there's always going to be a buyer for something at a price. I don't care what it is. I don't care what it is. There's a buyer for everything at a price. This is why garage sales work. This is why, you know, and when you even flea markets, this is how flea markets work, right? It's like even the junk they sell there, it's like, okay, well, you know, at 50 cents, this is going somewhere, right? So you get the economics, you understand the supply and demand model, and you just say, okay, well, as long as I know where there's demand, I'm going to be the supplier, and away you go.
It's funny because we, you know, before we quit our job, one of our biggest buyer, and he's become actually a really good friend of ours. We asked him, you know, what about like a recession? He's like, I flipped all the way through 2008. You know, he's like, a recession, I'm ready to buy like heavy. You know, he said the numbers just changed, just like you said, you know, in a place where houses are normally selling for 185. He's like, I was picking them up for 30 and selling them for 60. You know, the numbers just changed. It's it. But yeah, it was cool to hear that and have that in our mind that, you know, we're going to be okay either way.
Exactly. And I like, for me, again, the fact that you can make money up, you can make money down. That's why you do this full time. That's why you go heavy at this. But, you know, you both really impressed me, because you looked at it from a very tactical approach. Understanding and knowing that your value in the marketplace was going to be directly related to your understanding of value is something I scream it from the rooftops, but people don't hear it, right? They're more interested in, you know, oh, what's the next gadget, or what's the next shortcut, or what's the next, you know, easy way out, right? And again, look, not that you can't make money in lots of like fun little, you know, easy in and out kind of situations, but really, when you want to be a real estate investor, the fact is, fundamentally, you need to understand what things are worth,
right?
And if you can be good at that, and that's the main lesson I learned in my early days at Keegley, building it, was my value in the company was my capacity to understand value. And because you guys came in and you focused there and you watched it and learned it and watched it and learned it, and now I'm sure, you know, how quickly can you comp a house, Zach?
Oh, 30 seconds, a minute, maybe.
Right. And then when I say that to people, I can comp a house in 30 seconds to a minute, they're like, BS. But it's like, no, it's you got to get there. You know, if you are serious about this business, man, you got to get there. You got to be in that spot where this is second nature to you. You can see it, right? It becomes like tying your shoes.
Yeah, it's like when you talk with realtors, right? I mean, it's an authority level when you come in on a conversation and say, I'm looking at your ARV, and the problems I have with that is we're crossing a major road. We're like 60 years newer. The lot size is 3 times as high, and we're not even getting onto the point where that's a 2-story. Right? We can't use it for all these factors, but let me tell you where I do need to be and why. And that's where you get respect in this business. It does not come from guessing. It does not come from throwing numbers at the realtors with no justification. It's not going to work. You have to talk to them. You have to have a conversation as professional. Here's why. If we can make it happen, let's do it. At the end of the day, that's the biggest, most important learning lesson that we got from this course,
Mm-hmm.
and it has been worth tenfold
Mm-hmm.
on our investment in it. It's just, you have to learn this stuff, and build a scalable model out of it. There's a lot of ways to wholesale, but there's a lot of smart ways to wholesale.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I love that you teach. It made us, because I've always been that way. I was always basing my business off of referrals. I was sending, handwritten notes to everyone, asking if they have any friends or family. I was meeting realtors and loan officers. I was doing all of those sorts of things because I want that to keep producing fruit.
Right.
And that's where I was like, this guy gets it. This is what he teaches.
Mm-hmm.
He knows that's the smartest way to do this, because you can lay down on a Tuesday night and get 3 leads in,
Mm-hmm.
right? And those leads convert.
Yep.
A lot of times. They're ready to go.
Yep.
So yeah, it's just been crazy, but I think those things just go hand in hand. You have to understand where you're at and why, and it goes to the same place when you're talking to other wholesalers.
Mm-hmm.
We are in an industry where, unfortunately, there is a huge lack of education in our industry.
Mm-hmm.
And you guys are there to change that, but we're there.
And you too, right? When you provide a buy number, when you provide an education to an agent who doesn't understand the appraisal rules, when you provide an education to a wholesaler that doesn't understand the appraisal rules, you become a valuable person to that individual, right? And that's what creates the bond. That's what creates repetitive business. I mean, Monique Walker, I say her name all the time, but she gets reached out to by everybody because I've made her so famous as a real estate agent, right? She's just like, people are calling her, texting her, wanting her business. And I get messages from people saying, your girl is so solid, because they'll send me a screenshot. They'll reach out and they'll be like, hey, Monique, I would love to. And she's like, nope, sorry. I have one guy, and it's, and no joke. In the last couple of months, we've done 19 out of 20 deals that we've contracted together. We've closed on 19 of them. Wow. Right. And she's made more money as a real estate agent working with me in this investment capacity than she does if she had done that retail. Right. And so also understanding how to bring this to real estate agents who, quite honestly, right now might be feeling the pinch of high interest rates, and volume is starting to decrease. Inventory is really difficult out there. And so there's people suffering, right? They're like, I don't know where I'm going to get my next check. And and the pipeline is dry, right? And so what we as wholesalers can bring to the marketplace is hope. We can bring an opportunity and we can bring a solution. Right. And as you guys have continued to learn and grow and teach and thrive, you help spread that professionalism and elevate the business model of wholesaling. And I am grateful to you for having that professionalism and for making that the forefront of the way that you operate.
It's a no-brainer for us. I mean, we were given from you and all the free stuff out there is just incredible. I mean, but when you talk about our community and the people that are in it and just love and give with no expectation, we just want to help people. That is where we just want to continue to grow our business out of. Mm-hmm. is just by, I want to show you guys what I've learned and why. If you want to work with me in any capacity, that's fine. Mm-hmm. But I think what was really important to me was just seeing you and Pace and some of these other guys just give at a capacity that I couldn't even understand, because people don't do that typically, mm-hmm. And so that's what we wanted. If you do that enough, people are going to trust you. You're going to become credible. You're going to, come across a lot more opportunities. The universe gives back mm-hmm. to those that, give to it, right? And those ways. And, mm-hmm. We've done a great job just kind of helping sustain and grow what we do, but we want to eventually branch out and continually help others,
mm-hmm. Yeah, we talk to probably several wholesalers every week. They'll reach out to us from our posts or whatever, and we'll meet them at where they're at, talk to them about how do you make that offer. Don't just say, well, I'd have to be here. Like, let's explain why, right? And right. breaking those things down. And if we can't help people, how many times are we sending, hey, I can't help you, but call this person, call this wholesaler, right? And just sending it to them. We just want to, because we needed that and we had that. And so we just want to give that back to people who reach out to us.
Yeah, and it changes so quick if you think about it. We were at a point where we were sending things, like we worked with a Keegley Aubin in Detroit. She's phenomenal. She had all the patience in the world for us. We were sending her things and thinking it was this, and she came in very patiently, told us why it wasn't. And 3 or 4 months later, she's seeing us just take lift off.
Yeah, we do.
And she's like, holy cow, you know,
we
like
do.
we're
Doing a few deals a month with her now easily. So
it's so good.
Yeah.
I love it when the family gets to work together like that too, right? Because I adore Robin. She, you know, I met her in person. She came here for her training, and she's one of those franchises that I won't forget because she's just bright. She's so positive, and she radiates just this like magnetism, right? And I was like, oh, she's gonna kill it. Yeah. And you know, there you are. She meets you guys with that same energy, that same vibrance, and you guys learn from her. And then because she gave to you. And then, you know, didn't expect anything. You start to grow, and you're the first thing. You're like, "Hey, Robin, let's do deals together." And boom, there you go. Now you guys are eating from each other's plates, and like that's what family does, right? Like when I'm with my family and I see something on my wife's plate or something on my kid's plate, and they're not eating it, I'm like, "Hey, yo, I'll take it," right? And so like it's what we do, right? We love on each other. We'll eat from each other's plates because this is how a family operates, right? It's family style, and so. If there is somebody right now in a dark spot, right, or someone like you that is being underutilized in their life, where they know they've got talent that is just not being expressed, what would you say to them?
Well, I would tell them to get in proximity of the people that you'd like to replicate, right? I mean, if you like the way someone's lifestyle is and you're looking at that and saying, man, I don't know if that's for me. I think there's something just special about that person. The only thing extra special about that person is they made a decision to jump in around those people and they asked for help and they took criticism, you know, and they used it to get better, right? They didn't take it the wrong way. And I would just encourage people to believe in themselves. If I can do it from Midland, Michigan, if he can do it, right, having known nothing about real estate really, as quickly as we did, I believe everyone can do it. I think, you know, you need to surround yourself with people that are winning, get around a community such as this, right? Stay into the education mode for a little bit. You do need to know what you're doing in whatever it is. You want to come off as that professional. And just continually grow, right? There's no shortage of money and opportunity out there. That's a myth. It's not like there's only so much for so many people. Right. There's just certain people that are willing to jump in and do it. I think, you know, for us, that's always been the thing. We just believed in ourselves. There's never been a point when I've jumped in where I said, I'm not going to make this work. I'm making this work no matter what. And the tools are there. And these people are just giving this information to help you. And there's so much support, and it's just been phenomenal. So I would highly encourage to get around good people. We
tell new wholesalers all the time, they'll reach out. We laugh when we hear it because I'll have a new wholesaler reach out and they'll say, well, is it getting saturated? And I'm thinking, I hope so. I hope our market has a ton of wholesalers because I want to work with them. It's not competition, right? We're collaborating. And when you change that mindset, that is what makes all the difference in the world. Quit looking at everybody. Like we went to that meetup that you and Pace had in Detroit. I mean, we're looking at each other like we can work with every single person here. There's nobody here that is our competition.
We did that meetup for you guys. You know what I mean? For the people who it costs Pace and I money to come out there. It costs us time. It costs us time away from our families, hotel, cars, all the thing, food. Like we're literally. We're giving the money away to be out there to make sure that the community gets to meet each other in person, you know. And then when you guys are in those situations and you're around 300 other like-minded entrepreneurs who are wholesaling, I mean, how do you not monetize a meetup like that, right? Like and I'm sure that over the year you're going to look back and say, dude, we made like $100,000 just from going to that one pop-up.
Oh man, it's incredible. I mean, we go there and we're talking to all these people and it's like, you can hear that they're inspired. You can hear that they're like, wow, so what do you guys do again through that program? You work with realtors, you work with other wholesalers, great relationship with your buyers. Yes. And here's the thing. It works so extremely well that people are kind of like, how are you doing so many deals? We had people come up to us and say, how are you guys doing so many deals already? Because we took the information that we were given, applied it, and decided to consistently get better. We always want to improve. There's always things we can do. Like he said, we have an incredible relationship with a buyer who literally wants to work with us exclusively off of what we've learned. Wow. We took him opportunities, explained it, broke it down. He was good to go. Everything went through smooth. I've literally given him contact info for someone who, you know, was wholesaling with us, and he thought that was loyalty. So we've just learned and grew so much to where we have buyers that just want to work with us through us because
we got the same thing.
Yeah.
We call those sticky buyers.
Yes.
Yep.
Right. And I have a whole YouTube video on it, on like how you create a sticky buyer. I've got buyers who will say, hey, Jamil, this wholesaler sent me this deal. Can you vet it? Can you make sure it's good? Add your fee and sell it to me.
That's right. Yep.
Are you kidding me? You're just going to hand me money like that? Okay.
Yep. Our guy did that same thing when we sent him this other lady's contact info and they met up. She brought up another deal that she had. He went and looked at it that same day. He bought both of them and he called us and said, hey, I bought a second one from her and I'm adding $5,000 on top for you guys. Like, I mean, that's amazing right there. But that's what that, right? I mean, this guy, we're talking about a guy that had never worked with he worked with one wholesaler before us, had a bad taste in his mouth because of it, and only bought on market. And after he saw what we were doing and how we were adding value and all this stuff, now almost every deal he buys is wholesale from us because it's that bad taste shifted into, okay, wholesaling is a great thing and we're providing so much value when you do it the right way, right? And so that's what created that relationship with the guy.
Yeah, just like you said, like a sticky buyer who will say, hey, I got a deal from so-and-so. He does that all the time to us. Look at it, tell me if it's good, and tell me where we need to be at and add your fee, right? He let us do that because we've earned that. You know, people look at, man, how'd you get lucky with that? Here's the thing. I fully believe that there was no luck involved and that it was the strategy we implemented and the way we went out and made decisions. And so we earned it, quite frankly, but it's out there. Like you said, you become very respected when you do things at a high level and operate with professionalism. And so we've done a really great job of that, but you know, it did not start that way and it won't for most people, but it's, like I said, we haven't even been in this program a year. And you can see how quickly we went from doing a deal at $1,000 to a couple to 5 to like 7. Some months, you know, we had a month where we had like 12, right? It happened, you know.
Come on, man. This is, you guys. I'm grateful to have had this opportunity to talk to you both. And I know that there's folks watching this right now that are thinking, I really want to work with these two guys. So help us make that happen. How will people get a hold of you guys? How can people JV with you in Michigan and any other markets you're working in? What's your contact?
Well, you can text either one of us. My cell phone number is 989-572-2221, or you can email us mcfortune25@gmail.com. His cell phone number, I can let him give that.
989-954-3087.
And you know, all we do is we just ask that you send over the information, just like anyone. If it's a deal, send me the address and let's just kind of get a rundown of what's going on, so that way I can make sure I vet it a little bit. And I always ask wholesalers to tell me what they think it's valued at and maybe a little description, so we can kind of talk it through and help them. But we're doing that in Metro Detroit, in certain parts of Detroit, a lot of like inside Detroit. If we do, it's west side. Austin, Texas is a dispo market for us.
Okay.
We can and will dispo in Austin, Texas. We have direct VIP buyers out there, and we've moved a few pretty large deals that way. So anytime anyone in Austin, Texas comes across something, we have a lot of land buyers out there. We have a lot of people that just can do it on better margins. And so anytime someone has anything out there, please reach out. We'd love to help. And if I can't help you, I'll point you in the direction of someone that can. I want you guys to win. Yep, for sure.
Guys, you deserve to be on the moon. I love you both. And for everybody watching, we'll see you on the next one.
Thank you. Appreciate you.
Thanks, Jamil.
Thanks for having us, man.